Hello, everyone. My name is Dithebe Menoe. Today, I'm challenging myself to share with you a little bit on a topic of renewing yourself. I'm talking about moving from one state to the other. I'm talking about changing where you start from point A and you go to point B. And in between the points is a change status. I'll be basing it on a scripture from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. This scripture talks about transformation. It talks about renewal. So in the scripture you find that we have to change. It starts with a command. It says we should not be confirmed. We should not be conformed. I spend time to understand this word, to conform. Conform simply means to be in agreement with, which is also can mean to go along with. So when it says you should not be conformed, it means your form must not be in alignment with the system that is governing the world. The system that governs the world, you have to look firstly and say what system is ruling this world that you will live in. What financial systems, what social systems, what ways of thinking are ruling this world. So you first have to understand the systems for you to know whether you are conforming or not conforming. Because if someone says do not do something, you need to know what is it that is being excluded. In my understanding, many times we rush through things. We don't take time to understand. The next thing that he says, so if you are not going to be conformed, what must happen? What must happen is that there must be a transformation. So remember the first one we spoke about conform. Now he's talking about transform, meaning form must change, meaning that there is an initial form and then that form is followed by the next form, which is the end state after the transform. And thirdly, now the same scripture gives us the third element, which is the how. So for you to transform, you need to renew the mind. You have to renew your way of thinking. You need to challenge yourself to think differently. So renewal means there is an old way of thinking. Now you need a different way of thinking. Now let's unpack this nugget of truth. This nugget of truth is very challenging and yet very simplistic. The framework says everything starts with the mind, because it says for you to change from the form of the old state to the next state, the first thing that needs to change is your mind. Because if you look at Proverbs, it talks to that we are what we think about. It talks a lot about as a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. As a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. So your form or the state that you are in is heavily influenced in how you think and how you assess things around you. So if you believe that you are poor, if you believe that you are a victim of poverty, if you believe that where you are all going to stay there, that is your mindset. That's how you think right now. It means that your behavior is going to be in alignment with that. Meaning what? You're going to conform with the thinking. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So that is very important, because even in psychology, they speak about the fact that CBT, it talks about there's an event that happening, and then there's your thought about that event. You something happens and you think about it, You develop thoughts about it, and after you develop thoughts about it, the next step is that you, because of your thoughts, you develop emotions about it. So your emotions become, and your thoughts starts to align to say, I'm seeing a snake, I become afraid. What is the next behavior? I run. So your thoughts affects your feelings, and your feelings affects your behavior, and that is what happens. Now imagine you are a snake lover. So being a snake lover, you see a snake, what do you do? I become excited, and the thing is that I actually pursue the snake and catch the snake. So you see the same event of seeing a snake. The thinking was different between these two different individuals, and they responded differently. So everything is about thinking. Let's go back to the poverty mindset. If you see poverty around you, you then say, start to feel a certain way that I'm a victim. What do? Then you act along the victim, and you behave and demonstrate poverty behaviors. But if you are around the victim and say, I'm a victor, I feel empowered to do something different about this, then you can start doing that, applying yourself to think your way out of it and behave your way out of it because of your thinking. Everything starts in the mind. So that is very, very important. And lastly, to conclude, I want to say that renewing is a process. You need to take time to apply yourself in order for you to renew. The first step is to know the current state, know where you are. I'm going to ask you to do certain things for me. The first thing is to list the things that are around you. List the things that you don't like. Pick up any 10 things. There's no right or wrong, just list them. Then list your thinking about these things. List your thinking about these things. How do they make you feel? Then the next step, look at them and pick the top 3 and say, what can I do about this? How can I think differently about this in order to have an empowering thought? So go and do the exercise and review your list and list it. Take your time. You are not going to show it to anyone unless you want to. And that list is your personal list. Be honest with yourself and say, what is it that I don't like in my life? What is happening in my surroundings that I don't like? Who are the people that I don't like? See those things, understand the energy, and then renew your mind and say, okay, fine, how can I do things differently? That's your task for today. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me. As I said, my name is Dithebe Menoe, and I am your coach.